For those of you who just tuned in, everyone here is a crazy person. By Gallifreyisburning. Summary. It's Halloween 1999, and Harry and his friends have the best group costume idea of all time. Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Too bad they aren't the only ones. A Drarry fanfiction.
Oh, I can't believe you assholes make me come as Xander.
Ron grumbled, picking unhappily at his oversized printed button-down, where it hung open over an oddly fitting t-shirt.
Xander's a tit.
He's been cool a couple of times, Harry argued.
There was that whole thing with the bump in the basement. That was pretty cool.
And he was pretty sexy as army guy, Hermione added. Ron wrinkled his nose.
Right. He was sexy when he was being someone else. Why couldn't I at least have been Vamp Xander? Because I called Vamp Willow before you thought of it, and that's disgusting.
Ginny chimed in, smirking up at him.
Suck it up, Buttercup.
The tight corset pushed her otherwise modest breasts upward rather impressively, and Harry spared a moment to think that she really had been wasted on him and his then undiscovered homosexuality. From an objective, aesthetic standpoint, she looked hot as hell. It was just after 10 p.m., and Harry and his friends were making their way through the line into the Red Cab, the newest supposedly hippest bar in Wizarding London, for what had promised to be a truly epic Halloween party. They probably could have cut the line if Harry were honest with himself, but he hated playing the celebrity card, and he was hoping not to draw attention to himself. Well, not for that, anyway. He couldn't pretend that his black leather jacket and red silk shirt combination wasn't a bit on the ostentatious side. As if on cue, Luna reached up and slid one more button loose on his shirt before patting him on the chest. "There you go. Much more in character." She wore a short skirt, a jacket, and a cross necklace. A wooden stake stuck out of her pocket. Harry flushed, feeling a bit exposed, but didn't rebutton it. When Harry and his friends had gotten hooked on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, it hadn't taken more than a few episodes for the teasing to begin.
Tall, dark and handsome, broody and with a saviour complex? Come on, mate. Even you have to admit that you're fulfilling an archetype here.
Ron had told him when Harry had tried to get him to come to his defense. Really, Ron had brought the Xander costume on himself. Back in line, Hermione pulled her glasses off, rubbing them with a handkerchief before perching them back on her nose, giving Harry and Luna a faux disapproving look. She was clad all in tweed, her Giles costume perfect right down to the omnipresent green mug of tea. If we could return to the matter at hand.
What? Ron's whinging?
Ginny grinned.
It's not whinging.
Ron whinged. Harry tried to muffle a snort of laughter. You could always have been Kendra, Luna pointed out.
No, couldn't have pulled off the skirt,
Ron answered, sounding truly disappointed. From behind them, they could hear people muttering annoyance as someone pushed past them with a sheepish,
Sorry, my friends are just, sorry.
Finally, Neville slid up beside them, hair spiked out in every direction, guitar slung over his back.
Sorry,
he gasped again.
Got caught up at work.
One of the devil snares was misbehaving.
So literally caught up then?
Ginny grinned, earning herself a round of rolled eyes. Ron pointed at him, looking incensed.
I could have been Oz.
Again, your sister is dressed as Willow, Hermione pointed out with a sigh.
Oh, right.
Finally, they reached the front of the queue. The bouncer checked their wands, spelled a wristband onto each of them and waved them in, looking bored all the way.
Whew, finally!
Ginny yelled as they stepped into a loud, crowded bar.
I need a drink.
Ooh, Harry, look! Luna said, taking Harry's arm and pointing at the board of specials. They've got blood. Looking over, Harry saw that, sure enough, there was some sort of deep red cocktail being served in a realistic-looking blood bag. He laughed.
Guess I know what I'm drinking tonight.
Before too long, the group had managed to secure themselves drinks, starting with a round of rather suspect-looking neon shots that Ginny had pushed into their hands with a wicked grin. Now they were cheerfully working their way towards Tipsy, chatting with each other on various others who dropped by to comment on their costumes or show off their own.
"I don't get it,"
an extremely intoxicated Arnie Macmillan had told them, squinching at them in confusion.
"Buffy the Vampire Slayer?"
Harry had attempted to explain to him, but his face went even more perplexed. "It's an American Muggle television program," Hermione tried, and he shook his head at them, clearly baffled and too far gone to do anything about it.
"Weird."
They had just parted ways with a disturbingly realistic mummy that had turned out to be Dean Thomas, wrapped in artfully done papier-mâché, when Ron's eyes went wide.
"Oh, come on."
Following his gaze, Ginny's face lit up in a puckish delight.
"No way."
Turning to see what they were looking at, Harry's eyes caught on a head of extremely familiar white blonde hair. White blonde hair that had been slicked back. Not like it had been back in school, but in a way that managed to look edgy. White blonde hair that topped the head of a tall, thin man in a long leather duster, jeans, and beat-up combat boots.
"Oh, no,"
he said, eyes narrowing.
"Absolutely not."
It wasn't as though Harry and Malfoy were still rivals or anything. It was just that the kid drove him mad. What with his whole everything. That was all. And Harry didn't appreciate him stealing their costume idea, especially if he was going to dress as though he could hear him from across the room, Draco Malfoy's head turned and his gaze met Harry's, expression quickly going from its usual disdain to surprise to a smirk in a record time as he took in Harry and then his friends. He nudged someone beside him, tipping his head in their direction, and Harry glanced down to see Pansy Parkinson, dark hair curled to her shoulders, in red leather pants that matched her lacquered lips, and a sinfully tight black top, stake in hand. Behind her stood Blaise Sabini, in a burgundy velvet suit and orange tie, and Gregory Goyle in a long white nightdress and a wig.
"Fucking hell,"
Harry muttered. From behind him he heard Hermione sigh. "Oh dear." Malfoy, of course, led his little gang directly over to Harry and his friends, hands in his pockets, somehow managing to saunter across the room despite the absolutely packed bar floor.
Well, well, well,"
he said, voice and grin both dripping with pure sin.
"What have we here?"
"Fuck off, Malfoy," Harry grumbled.
I don't think I will."
Draco raised an eyebrow, removing his hand from his pocket, only to spin a cigarette between his long, pale fingers. And Merlin, how had Harry not noticed the resemblance before?
"Play nice, boys,"
Pansy Parkinson drawled before moving past him and directly up to Ginny.
"Nice choice,"
she purred, eyes trailing over her body, lingering rather longer than could be considered strictly polite on her décolletage.
"Didn't fancy the sweet innocent look then."
Ginny returned to look with interest.
"Never been my style. Never been yours either, I don't think."
Pansy shrugged her assent.
"I'm more of a want-take-half sort of girl."
Ginny grinned less chiviously and held out her hand.
"Dance?" "For now."
Pansy winked, and the two disappeared on the dance floor without a backwards glance. Hermione, meanwhile, was eyeing Blaise skeptically. "Did they really make you dress up at Mr. Trick just because he's the only black male character?" she asked, tone tinged with disgust. Blaise snorted.
"As if they could make me do anything. They wanted me to be him."
He gave a sideway nod at Harry, who was still glaring at Malfoy with his arms crossed.
"But I didn't fancy that hair. Besides, I look amazing in the suit."
Hermione's expression relaxed. She eyed him up and down before tilting her head in concession. "Fair point." Draco had stepped even further into Harry's space now, smirking.
leathers in your look for you," he commented. "Trying to be the bad boy, then?"
"Fuck off," Harry repeated grumpily.
"Ooh, does this mean you're celibate for life now? Bad luck, Potter. Not that you were getting any anyway, I'm sure."
"I said, fuck off."
"Make me."
He pulled Draco by the lapels of his jacket, glowering. Draco laughed victoriously. From where he was standing, with Luna observing the scene, Neville shook his head disbelievingly.
"How long until they start snuggling, do you think?"
Luna considered, tilting her head to one side.
"Not long, I would imagine."
Forgotten in the chaos, Ron wandered up to Goyle.
"Drusilla, huh? Bad luck."
Goyle grunted his agreement.
"You?" "Xander." "Ouch. Yeah."
They clinked their glances together. A few feet away, a somewhat disheveled Spike and Angel made out furiously, oblivious to the crowd around them. The end. Thank you for listening to this wonderful story by Gallifreyisburning. I really hope you enjoyed it. I really hope you enjoyed this wonderful month and your fall activities. And I'm really excited to share the next story with you.